What's up, y'all? This is Becky D with Becky D Beauty, and today we are going to be making these beautiful bubble braids. We're going to start with a straight ponytail that has a mix of different colored braiding hair as well as some hair tinsel. We're going to show you how to section out the hair. I'm going to show you how to make the actual bubble itself, and we're going to show you how to use the hair from the ponytail to conceal each rubber band. That way you get a style that's nice, that's pretty, sleek, and unique. And it's going to have people saying, wow, how did you do that? All right, so as you can see, we're going to start with this straight ponytail. And we're just going to brush it to make sure that it's all nice and smooth to begin with. And from here, we're going to start dividing it into a section that we will make into the bubble braids. So we're going to be replicating that. And it's pretty easy. We got a pretty sizable section here. And with my fingers, I'm just taking it and kind of smoothing it out just to make sure there's no hairs that are sticking out. And we're going to do a section about that big, and then we're going to wrap it with a hair elastic. Okay, this is going to be the start of our first bubble braid. This one's going to be kind of large at the top, and they're going to get smaller as they go down the ponytail. So you want to make sure you secure that with a hairband, a rubber band. I use the clear plastic ones. For me, it helps to conceal the rubber band a lot better. But you can really use any color that you want. You can use black. Just make sure it's the little tiny hair elastics. Okay, so we're still fastening the rubber band. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that section, and I'm going to find a small strand of hair in the center of that section. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold on to that little strand of hair and pinch where the rubber band is and pull up to create the little bubble. Now you may have to practice this a couple times to get the feel of it, but it's as easy as that. You see it makes a little bubble. You may have to take your fingers and kind of work with it and kind of poof it out. But this simple technique helps to form the bubble braid as big or as little as you want it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a very small strand of hair. You don't want it too thick or else it will tangle in your crochet tool. So we're going to use this method to conceal the rubber band. Again, you're going to take a very small, fine, you see how little it is, how skinny it is? We are going to take this small section of hair, and the way you use your crochet tool is you take it and you put it in underneath the rubber band diagonally to where it's sticking out on the other side. And you take that hair and you wrap it 2 to 3 times around the rubber band. And you want to be careful because this hair, it does tangle very easily. So you got to be careful with it. So as you'll see here, it tangled on me. And this was my first time out the gate doing my first bubble braid. It tangled on me. So just to show you, this is a possibility when you're working with this hair, it can tangle on you. But don't worry, there's an easy fix to it. We're just going to bring it back out the other side. And we're going to start over again, okay? So the pulling has kind of diminished our bubble a little bit, so make sure that you poof that back out. Again, this happens when you're working with synthetic hair. It does tangle very easily, so if it does tangle on you, don't worry. We start over again. We can fix it. It's all good. So here we go. Second time doing that. We got that thin strand of hair. I'm wrapping it around 2 times. Wrap it around the end of the crochet tool and pull it through. There you go. That's how it's supposed to work. So that's the fun with doing these hairstyles. You may mess up in practice. Don't worry about it. There's easy fixes for it. And that's what we're here for. We're here all to learn these different techniques and practice and get better and better. But no matter what, the end result is still super cute. I love these bubble braids. Okay, so we're going to go to the next section. Again, we're going to seal it off with a hair elastic. In this section, I'm making a little bit smaller so that you can see what the smaller bubbles look like. And that's the fun with these. You can do them all the same size. You can do big to small. There's no limit to the different types of designs and styles you can get with these bubble braids. So a smaller section results in a little smaller bubble like that. Really cute. So like I said, for these demo purposes, I'm showing you all different sizes of bubbles that can be done in a bubble braid. We're going to take this small strand of hair. You stick it diagonally underneath the rubber band. Wrap it 2 to 3 times. Remember, be careful because this hair can tangle. You wrap it around the end of the crochet tool and you pull through. And now you have a nice concealed rubber band. And just a side note, another thing you can do with these bubble braids, if you can see into the other pre-made braids I have, you can add little charms, little jewels. You can add all kinds of cool little accessories to these types of bubble braids. So we're going to take another section, almost about the same size as the one above. You wrap that hair elastic. And so what I'm doing here is I'm trying to make sure the previous bubble is nice and puffed out. What can happen as you're working on this is the bubble above the one that you're working on sometimes quote unquote deflates. So you need to kind of, take your fingers and puff it back out. So when working on this, what I noticed was the braid that the bubble that I was about to start kind of looks weak and deflated. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that rubber band out and start all over again. Because I don't know if you can see what I can see, but it doesn't look as fabulous as the other one. So again, if that happens, you take your crochet tool, you use it to take the rubber band out, and you just start again. That's what these classes are all about. You're learning every aspect of these different techniques. Again, make sure that your bubbles are puffed out. That's the whole point of the bubble braid, is to have these nice little bubbles of hair. Okay. And I'm just going through with my hairbrush to make sure everything is smooth. When you're first learning this technique, it is a process to get down. Again, there's a lot of things you have to make sure you pay attention to detail. Keep those bubbles nice and formed. As you're working through your braid, make sure nothing falls flat. And if you mess up, you just start it over again. So here we are. This is our second attempt at the third bubble. Again, we take the hair elastic, wrap it around. And since I started over and everything's nice and neat, we should have an easier time creating that bubble. I'm going to go into the center of it and grab a small strand of hair and pull up. And there it is. There's the bubble we were looking for. So that one's a little bit smaller of a section, so it makes a little bit smaller of a bubble. We're going to take that small strand of hair. You go diagonal into the rubber band. You wrap that hair around 2 to 3 times. And then you wrap it around the end of your crochet tool and pull through. There it goes. So now that we've got a hang of everything, it goes through a lot more smoothly. We're going to finish off by going to another section. We're going to do another bubble coming up right here. And remember, this is all up to your creativity. You can do a whole row of bubbles. You can do 1 or 2 bubbles and leave the rest of the hair loose. This is all for you to use, to be creative with. So make sure after you've taken this class, I want to see your looks. I'm always curious to see what people do with these tutorials. I want to see these bubbles on y'all's hair. All right, so we're doing this next bubble. Again, I'm checking the bubble above it just to make sure that it's still poofed out, because that is something that can happen as you're working your way down. It pulls on the bubble on top, so always go back and check. Make sure they're all poofed out the way they're supposed to. You're going to grab a small section of the hair. For this part, I was trying it differently to see if it would work like that, if I wrapped it first and then put the crochet tool, just to show you guys what would happen, and it did not work out so well. So yes, you want to make sure your crochet tool is already inserted, and that way it'll work correctly. Now we're almost finished with this section of bubble braid. We just have 1 or 2 more bubbles to place. We'll see how many fit. And we're just going to simply repeat that process again. And as you saw, I was making sure to make sure the bubbles are still puffed out, that nothing's going flat, because we're pulling on the hair below it. So we're going to take this section of hair again, wrap it in the rubber band, make the section that you want. Again, the smaller the section, the smaller the bubble. The bigger the section, the bigger the bubble. And as you start getting practice with these as well, you can start creating more shapes in addition to the bubble, and just have really, really creative hairstyles going on. So we're going to find that middle strand, pull the hair up to make that bubble. So when I do it, I kind of make it, you see how it looks like kind of like a spaceship more, like a little bit more of a flat bubble. I do that to kind of help with the pulling that eventually happens. See, when you just pull it down a little bit, now it forms the regular little globe that we're used to. And it's kind of off camera right now, but again, with the crochet tool, you go in diagonally, wrap that hair around the rubber band and the crochet tool 2 to 3 times. You wrap it around the end, and then you pull through the center. So these are our lovely bubbles. I think I'm going to try for one more. So there we go. We're going to try for one more of these. It's going to be a little bit of a smaller section, a little bit of a smaller bubble. But again, same process. You wrap it with a rubber band. You find the thin piece of hair in the middle and pull. So you create your bubble. You take your crochet tool, you stick it through the middle, wrap the hair around 2 to 3 times, and you wrap the piece around the end of the crochet tool, and then you pull it through, and it wraps and conceals the hair elastic or rubber band perfectly. So what we're going to do next, we did the whole braid, different size bubbles, just to get our technique down, to try it out. So when you're doing a custom piece like this, you can see a lot of the little hairs that are maybe uneven kind of sticking out. It makes it look kind of frizzy. So all you do is you take a pair of shears and you simply trim off that excess. And this is really, you do this more for the synthetic hair than you would if you were doing this on natural hair, because you don't really want to be cutting hair and making it shorter. So for the synthetic braids and the synthetic hair, that's something that you want to do to kind of minimize the frizz, is go through and trim off the excess. So there you go. That is our bubble braid. Very pretty, very stylish, very unique. When I saw this, I was like, wow, I have to try this. So it's definitely something I've had fun learning, and I'm still learning, and I'm interested in getting all the different types of techniques down. And yeah, you just keep trimming it, keep making it look nice, keep making it look sleek and fancy. And there you go, that's your bubble braid. I cannot wait to see what you guys create. I can't wait to see all the different colors and variations. So make sure after you do this class, make sure you post your pictures here in this group so I can see all the fun and creative ideas you guys come up with when utilizing this technique of creating bubble braids. I'll see you next time.